Hello, and welcome back to episode 4 of Roby Rambles, a podcast where I, Alana Roby, ramble about the deeper things in life while rambling out in nature. Today I am in the high desert area, which is where I like to do a lot of car camping in the early spring time for weather reasons. And when I talk about car camping, a question that I get asked a lot is, how did you take the leap? Basically, how did you make the decision to leave your very comfortable life in order to set out onto the road in search of the life that I desired? I think people generally ask me this question when they themselves want to make a big decision in their life, but are afraid that things won't work out and their fear is causing them to stay in the exact same place. Now, I understand why people ask me this question because making the decision to take the leap into the unknown is one of the hardest parts of the entire process, is just making that decision to take the leap. Being able to look the unknown in the face and feel all of your fear and yet do it anyways is very hard, and I definitely acknowledge that. Our brains are conditioned to believe that our anxieties and our fears are there to protect us, to keep us safe. But the reality is, at some point, your fears and anxieties start to hold you back. Now, I originally moved out of my last apartment in October of 2021. However, I had been planning to take the leap, so to say, for 4 years before I actually took the leap. I had been dreaming of international travel full-time ever since I took my first international trip right after graduating high school in 2017. I went to university after graduating high school like I was supposed to, and I planned on graduating a year early so that I could graduate within 3 years and get out onto the road into the world much sooner. My plan was to get certified to teach English as a second language and travel to other countries working as a teacher. Now, if you do the math, you'll realize that 3 years after 2017 is in fact 2020 during the COVID pandemic. And so international travel was not really an option once I graduated from university. Once I finished my TOEFL course, I felt very stuck. So in the summer of 2020, when I had to move out of my college apartment, I decided to move into an older one-bedroom duplex that cost $600 per month plus utilities, and I signed a 1-year lease with the option to extend my lease for 3 months. But I didn't want to extend my lease more than that. I felt like the COVID pandemic was going to end at some point, and I did not want to give up on my dreams. So even though I moved into this nice cozy apartment, I still had this dream in the back of my mind. So while I was living in this one-bedroom duplex apartment, I was working online as an English teacher. I hadn't quite given up that dream either. I decided to work for 2 different companies teaching English as a second language online, and that's what paid my rent. That's what kept me going for that entire year after university. And as the world started to reopen after the COVID pandemic, I got a job teaching yoga at my local gym. So during COVID, I also decided to get certified as a yoga teacher online, which I don't know if online is how I would do my initial yoga teacher training if I was to go back and change things, but I really wanted to get that certification under my belt because I still wanted to move abroad. I didn't want to stay in this place forever, and not only was English teaching an opportunity to move abroad, but I saw yoga teaching as another way to move abroad. So I was like, okay, let's just get another certification and get some experience teaching at a local gym and see what happens. So I had gotten into a really nice routine of teaching yoga at the gym and teaching English online, and I also started my YouTube channel in 2020, and so I was editing my videos for fun on the side, And I was also in a really good routine of going to the gym and working out and taking care of my body and my mental health and eating really well. And I just felt like I was in a really good routine. And I really liked the routine that I had in my last apartment. And so as the end of my lease began to approach in August of 2021, I started to feel myself wanting to give up on my dreams. I was very comfortable. It felt very scary to give that all up for something that was so unknown. Now, I would say that there's two main factors that led to me actually making the decision to take the leap in leaving my apartment and starting to travel full time. And the first thing is that in September 2021, the Chinese English teaching company that I was working for sent out an email to everybody basically saying that there was a new law in China that was making it illegal for people outside of China to tutor children inside of China, even if that tutoring was for a foreign language. So the English teaching platform that I was working for, the English teaching platform that was paying my rent, basically emailed me and said, you have 1 more month left of a job, and then good luck. Now, I was also working for an American English teaching company, which didn't pay as well, and I was also teaching yoga at my local gym. But those 2 jobs weren't enough to continue paying my rent, and my YouTube channel was in its beginning stages. It was not earning me anything yet. It was still just a hobby project. And so I was faced with this decision of my lease is ending in 3 months, and I can either find another job and stay here and continue paying my rent, or I can take these 2 things, my job ending and my lease ending at the same time, as a sign that it's finally time to take the leap and chase the dreams that I've been dreaming of for the last 4 years. Now, the second thing that I think helped me make this decision was I found a work exchange opportunity on the platform Workaway, where I could get free room and board in exchange for teaching yoga at a hostel on the beach in Panama, which sounded like the dream opportunity. So I sent them an email, shooting my shot, asking when they needed a yoga teacher. And it just so happened that their schedule aligned with mine, and they needed a yoga teacher the same exact time that my lease was ending, the same exact time that I was going to be out of a job, the same exact time that it was time for me to take the leap. So I'm telling you my whole life story just to tell you that it wasn't an overnight decision. This was something that I had been thinking about for 4 years. It took me losing my job, losing my apartment, and gaining what I thought was my dream job of teaching yoga on the beach in Panama to take the leap. So the moral of this episode is not to make impulsive decisions. I am very much a type A person, and I'm not for impulsive decisions. However, I do think that you should take a step back every once in a while and seriously ask yourself, is this the life that I want to be living? Or am I just comfortable in this flow, in this routine? And is there something out there that I desire even deeper than this? And then if there is, just start taking conscious but actionable steps towards the life that you desire until you can no longer deny taking that final leap. Wait. But Alana, you took the leap to move out of your apartment. How did you take the leap to move into your car? Sounds like there's a piece of the story missing. Well, the decision to take the leap into moving into my car had to start with me accepting the fact that the life that I had been desiring for the past 4 years and dreaming about and working towards, and the thing that I had taken the leap into, didn't actually make my nervous system feel good. It made me feel very anxious to be in different countries every month and sharing living spaces with strangers and not having my own grounding space. And so I knew deep down that this life that I had desired and taken the leap into wasn't something that I could continue, and I had to admit that to myself. I knew that I could not continue traveling internationally, doing work exchanges the way that I was doing, but I also wasn't ready to move back into an apartment and accept defeat. Like, I figured that there had to be another way to chase this life that I had been desiring in maybe a way that I had never imagined before, in a way that I could have never foreseen happening. So I came back from my international travels, and all I had left in storage was my car. So I decided to put everything that I still owned into said car and drive to a friend's house. I crashed with a friend for about a month while I figured out what I wanted to do. And then I took a week-long road trip to a state that I had never been to visit family. And while I was visiting that family, I had a bunch of camping gear sent to their house. And I decided to pack up my car and decided it was time to leave again. That I didn't want to just be staying with other people and relying on my friends and family to support me in my travels. Like, I figured that there also had to be another way. So I found the platform called Trusted House Sitters, and I applied to a random pet sit in Denver, Colorado. I got the job, so I got in my car and I drove to Denver, Colorado and continued to pet sit all summer. And I've ended up finding this really beautiful balance of car camping and pet sitting and working seasonal jobs in order to replenish my savings every now and then. And this is a life that I could have never imagined. But it's what I've been doing ever since May of 2022, 7 months after initially moving out of my apartment to, quote unquote, pursue my dreams. So I'm continuing to tell you my life story to show you that what you initially take the leap into could end up not working out. And that's okay. I personally don't think I could have ever found myself living the life that I'm living now, pet sitting, car camping, and working seasonally, had I not just taken the leap towards the life that I desired in November of 2021, had I not accepted that job in Panama. Even though that job ended up not being right for me, having the courage to take that leap ended up allowing me to find the path that is working for me. I also think a lot about how easy it would have been to come back from my international travels and doing work exchanges abroad and just moving straight back into an apartment in May of 2022 and going back to the comfortable life that I knew. But also having the courage to keep going and knowing that there was something else out there for me, I think is really special. And I think earlier when I said that making the leap is one of the hardest parts of making that decision and taking the leap into the life that you desire, the other hardest part of taking the leap is accepting when things don't work out and continuing to persevere, continuing to push towards a life that you desire, even if you don't necessarily know what that is yet. Even when you do encounter your biggest fears along the way of like, what if taking the leap doesn't work out? You know, like how you handle that is also a determinant of whether or not you'll end up living your dream life, because yeah, you can't always imagine exactly what you want. Like maybe there's something out there that you can't even fathom yet, and you won't find out until you take the leap and until you fail and until you accept that and until you continue moving forward. Like I think there's a lot of lessons that can be learned in the initial taking of the leap. But yeah, I think taking the leap initially and learning to accept failure and continuing to persevere towards the life of your dreams are the two hardest things when it comes to wanting to live a life that you love. And I don't necessarily think that in order to take the leap, you have to be fearless. I think that is a terrible common misconception. I'm not fearless. I have a ton of fear. But in order to live the life that you desire, it's a matter of being able to feel your fear, understand where it's coming from, and be able to face your fear anyway, because you know deep down that that is what you desire in this lifetime. Like, a lot of times our fear is just our worry about the unknown. And the unknown will remain the unknown as long as you continue letting your fear get the best of you. Like, you can never truly know what amazing things life has in store for you if you continue letting your fear hold you back. So, what is my takeaway for you in today's episode? Instead of thinking that you can't take the leap because you don't know what would be on the other side, remind yourself that maybe you don't even know what could be possible on the other side until you just simply take the leap. And also a friendly reminder that just simply taking the leap will not make you fearless. Like, you're gonna have to continue facing your fears as you move along the way, if you truly want to create the life that you desire. Okay, that is all of the rambling that I have for you today. Thank you for watching and or listening to this new creative project of mine. I am so happy that you are here, and if you made it all the way to the end of the episode, leave a comment down below. What is it that you personally want to take the leap into, and what is it that's holding you back? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider giving it a like and sharing it with a friend or family member who you think might resonate with it. Or share it over on Instagram with your takeaways. I would love to see them over there, and tag us at Alana Roby and at Roby Rambles. I would love to connect with you guys over there, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!